Hello students, this video is going to continue our look at whole numbers, and in this case we're looking at 1.10 factors and multiples from MathSpace. So in this section we're going to be looking at what a factor is and what a multiple is. So again, I won't be reading through this word for word, but I will be summarizing for you. So a factor, as it says here, is any numbers that can be divided into the original number. So for example, they say here 4 is a factor of 12 because 12 can be divided by 4. And we see that here 12 divided by 4 equals 3 with no remainders. And that's a very important fact. Now, every single number has at least one pair of factors, and those factors are 1 and itself. So 1 and 2, or 1 and 4, or 1 and 8. So 1 and the number itself is always going to be a pair of factors. So everything has at least one factor pair. So we go through and we can obviously use our times table a lot to help us find factor pairs. But what I'm going to demonstrate to you is one way that I like to work out my list of factors that I would like to encourage you. In fact, I'm going to ask you to use in your books. So they go through some videos here and show you some ways to do it, and there's nothing wrong with these ways. I'm just going to demonstrate how I like to get factor pairs. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to demonstrate that in this first question here, just because I can use the sketchpad. So we're ignoring the actual question for a second. I'm just using this sketchpad to help show you how I can do factor trees, as I call them, factor tables, sorry. So let's say we want to have the factors of 42. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write the number at the top, I'm going to draw a line underneath it, and then I'm going to divide it into 2. So I'm drawing a little bit of a table, a little T table actually. So I'm going to start with number 1 on this side and 42 on this side. So that is 1 times, we think about times here, 42 will give us 42. So we know that is a factor. Then we look at the next number. So going down on the left hand side, we go to 2. And we basically say, can we divide 42 by 2? And if we can with no remainders, then it is a factor pair. So yes, we can do that. 2 and 21 will be a pair of factors. So 2 times 21 would give us 42. Now the question is, can we do 3? So if we're not sure, we can do that calculation. So we can either do that the long way, or of course we can use a calculator. And in fact, I'm going to bring up the calculator here in just a moment. So here we have our calculator. So again, if I can't do that quickly, I can just go 42 divided by 3. And it does in fact give us an answer without any remainder. So 3 and 14 are a pair. Now what about the number 4? Let's see what our calculator says. So let's clear the last calculation. 42 divided by 4 equals no. That is 10.5, which basically means a remainder. So 4 is not a factor of 42. We'll do the next one, 5. Well, we can already see 5 won't, because it would have to be 45 to work. Let's just do it anyway. 42 divided by 5. Nope, we can't do that one. 42 divided by 6. Yes, that works. So 6 here and then 7 there. So 6 times 7 is 42. Now we don't have to go any further, because our next number going down this left-hand side will be the bottom number we have here. It would be 7. So there's no point writing 7 on this side and 6 on this side, because it's the same pair of numbers. So what I like to do at this point is draw an arrow that basically just reminds me that I've finished everything on this side, and really I'm just going back the other way. So what I now have is all the factors of 42. The factors are 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 14, 21, 42. Okay, the pairs are 1 and 42, 2 and 21, 3 and 14, and 6 and 7. They are the pairs. And of course, I can talk about them the other way, 42 and 1, 21 and 2, and so on and so forth. But we usually go with the smaller number on the left-hand side, the larger number on the right. So let's have a look at that in relation to this question that's actually happening here. So what we'll do is we will clear our sketchpad, which we need to clear it there. And let's have a look at what this question says. So it says, complete this table of factor pairs for the value of 45. So let's do that the way I just demonstrated. So we're going to write 45 at the top, draw a line underneath, and we're going to do a line down the middle. That's our t-chart. So the first pair of factors, of course, is 1 and the number itself. Always going to be that, okay? Can we divide 45 by 2? Well, I know that's not going to work because the second number is a 5 and you can never divide 5 by 2. So 2 will not be a number. 3 won't be. 4, I doubt will be one. But let's just double check. So we'll get our calculator back and clear. So 45 divided by 3. Oh, lucky we checked because it is. It's 15. So 3 and 15 is in fact a pair. Okay, what about 4? I don't believe 4 would be, but again, let's check our calculator. 45 divided by 4 equals no. What about 5? Well, I can already confidently say 5 because again, if our last number is a 5, then it means we can definitely divide it by 5, and I know that 5 times 9 is 45. So now that we've worked these out, and again, I can't go any further, 6 and 7 don't work, so that's all of my factors. So I'm going to draw my arrow underneath again to indicate that I know I've looped around. I'm just going back through this. So now if we're going to write out the factor pairs, again, we write them as 1, 45. Okay. The second factor pair is 3, 15. And the third one in this case is 5, comma 9. So they are our pairs. And MathSpace shows them in brackets. So we're going to put a bracket around that one, bracket around that one, and a bracket around that one. So that's the pairs. Okay, so that's what we should see in our book. So now to actually enter them in MathSpace, you can see here they are. So in that first box, I'm going to be putting a 1 because that's the missing number from this pair. In the second box, the missing number is a 3. And in the third box, the missing number is a 9. And hopefully that means we are correct. And we were. Well done. Now, the next thing we want to also look at is what a multiple is. So a multiple is any number that can be made by multiplying one of its factors. So in this case, we've got 15 is a multiple of 5. 5 is a number that we can multiply by something else to get 15. And so the example again says 15 is a multiple of 5 because 3 times 5 gives you 15. So again, it's kind of like the reverse of factors. So let's have a look at some other sample questions around that. So here we have the next one, which is write down all the factors of 15. So again, let's do that the way I've shown you. So we're going to write 15 at the top, a line underneath, and a line down the middle as our t-chart. We always start with 1 and 15 because there's always going to be 1 and the number itself. Can we do 2? No, we can't. Can we do 3? Yes, because I know 3 times 5 is 15 from my times tables charts. Can I do 4? No, I can't, not without any remainders. And of course, then we're back to 5. So that's the end. So I'm going to do my little arrow. So all the factors I have are shown here. The pairs are 1 and 15, like that. And we'll put a bracket around it. Sorry about the bad brackets. And also 3 and 5. That's our 2 pairs in this case. Okay. But the question is saying write down all the factors, not the factor pairs, but the factors. And it says write each answer on the same line separated by commas. So what it wants is just the numbers, so what the factors themselves are. So the way I'll enter this is 1, 3, 5, 15. That is the set of factors, not the pairs, but the individual factors that make up 15. So don't forget, preferably do them in order from smallest to largest, which again, we go down the left-hand side of this t-chart, back up the right-hand side, but that will give us all our factors. Press submit and we should be correct on that one. Okay. The last one it's asking us to have a look at is write the first 5 multiples of 9. So again, this is what numbers we get if we multiply 9 by something else. 9 is our number that we want to find multiples of. So when it says the first 5, well, we're going to start with 9 times 1. So again, we're just going to make a note over here. So our first one is going to be 9 times 1 equals, then 9 times 2, 9 times 3, 9 times 4, and it's said to do the first 5, so we're going to have 9 9 times 5 as our last one, equals on each of those. So of course this is now just our times tables. So 9 times 1 of course is 1, 9 times 2 is 18, 9 times 3 is 27, 9 times 4 is 36, and 9 times 5 is 45. So that's what I would expect to see in your workbooks. And then if we look at how to enter it in, it simply says write them down, separating each with a comma. So again, I'm not writing the equation or the multiple here, just what the answer is. So the first multiple of 9, sorry, I just realized I did that wrong, my apologies. 9 times 1, of course, is 9 and not 1. That's why you always check your work. So the first multiple is 9, comma, 18, comma, 27, comma, 36, and then comma, 45. That is the first 5 multiples of 9. So let's submit that and see what it says. Yep, well done, we've got that correct. Now, I just want to maybe point out one more thing here. Sometimes a question might say, what are the second 5 multiples, or what are the multiples of, so what are the next 4 multiples of 9 starting from 5? So you do have to read the question carefully, because if it was something like that starting from 5, we would have 9 times 5 would be the first one, and then be 9 times 6, 9 times 7, and so on. So most of the question will probably say something like this: what are the first 5? So we start at 1. But you do have to read the question carefully, because it could say something like, what are the next 4 multiples of 9 starting from 5, or something like that. Okay, so do read your questions very, very carefully. Okay, that's the last one we're going to look at. Sorry, that's the questions there. So again, as always, you can have a read through this in detail. You can watch the videos they've shown you. Again, you can see this is sort of the way they're writing out their factors. I would like you please to, sorry, that was the wrong piece of work. I would like you to do it this way with the factor T-charts that I'm doing here. That's the method I'd like you to use in your book, please. I think it makes it very, very clear. You can write your factor pairs at the bottom like this, and then if you are asked to, or if you just want to write them out, you can write the individual factors in just a list separated by commas, just like this question has asked you for here. Okay, thanks everyone for that one, and you can go off and do your work now.